So today we'll talk about basically bond energy. Right? What is now bond energy? Basically the amount of energy required to break 1 mole of a substance is known as bond energy. Consider that we have having a molecule which is H2, and obviously in order to break the bond, like this is like this, right? In order to break this bond we require some energy, so we will give some energy and then it will dissociate, right? Then it will form. So basically this like the amount of energy required the amount of energy which is required to break a bond of 1 mole of a substance is called bond energy. Basically this reaction is endothermic, right? This reaction is endothermic because heat is given, so we will present this by positive value because we have given the heat over here. There's one more definition of this bond energy, which is the amount of energy which is released when 1 mole of substance is formed. Right, the energy which is released when 1 mole of substance is formed. For example, consider that we have this hydrogen and hydrogen, they form H2. So basically they will release some energy, so this reaction is basically exothermic. They will release some energy, and we will show this by minus heat sign because the energy is released during the formation of a chemical compound. So basically this is the definition of bond energy. There are some factors that are involved in, like factors that affect the bond energy, that affect the bond energy, right? Basically the first factor is basically polarity, or you can say the ionic character. Polarity or ionic character, like basically it is polarity is directly proportional to the bond energy. If the difference between the electronegativity is higher, it means the polarity is higher, it means the ionic character is higher, so the energy will be also higher. Basically that's why HF has higher bond energy than HCl. Why? Because we know the electronegativity of fluorine is 4 minus 2.1, so basically it is 1.9, right? And 30 minus 2.1, it is basically 0.9. So obviously it has high electronegativity difference, so it means it will release high amount of energy. Now second factor is basically bond length. Basically bond energy is inversely proportional to the bond length. If the bond length is higher, then the energy required to break the substance is basically low. Like it depends, basically it actually depends upon the size of atoms, right? Consider that we have two hydrogen atoms, like we have hydrogen. So we know that the size of hydrogen is quite small, right? Hydrogen plus hydrogen, they will form H2. So the energy which will basically be given, obviously energy will be given over here, that will be something, or you can say it's reverse this reaction, or it will be H2 divided by H plus H, right? So energy which is released over here is basically minus 400 I guess 85 or 36 kilojoule per mole. This is this. But when we break chlorine, Cl plus Cl, it is some like the energy released is basically minus 242 kilojoule per mole, right? So as you can see over here, the energy difference, why there is energy difference, like why this hydrogen has higher energy and chlorine has lower, because the size of hydrogen is quite small, so there means the bond length is quite small, so obviously it means the bond is strong, right? Because bond length is also strong, the strength of an compound is strong, so it means that high energy will be required to break the bond. That's why high bond energy. Here as you can see, there is large size. We know that chlorine has a large size. It means the bond length will be larger. So it means the bond strength is quite weak. It means if we provide a less amount of energy, it will easily break. So that's why this chlorine has a less amount of energy, right? Then basically another factor, which is basically presence of multiple bonds. Basically, if for example we have carbon, this, and carbon. Now consider which energy will be higher. This one energy, the compound which have triple bond will be higher. Basically it is directly proportional to the bond energy, right? It will be directly proportional to the bond energy. As you will increase the you will increase the number of bonds, the energy will also be increased. Now basically there is a term known as bond dissociation energy. Now what is that? Basically bond dissociation energy. Basically bond dissociation energy and this like what is the difference between bond dissociation energy and the bond energy? Basically like we are saying in bond energy, the amount of energy required to break, and here bond dissociation also means that the energy required to dissociate a chemical compound into its components or its ions. So what is the difference? Basically bond dissociation energy is used for the basically when the atomicity is more than 2 atoms, like when we have more than 2 atoms. If we have more than 2 atoms, then we use the term bond dissociation energy. We use the bond energy basically for the diatomic molecules. Now they can be homoatomic or they can be heteroatomic. We use bond dissociation energy for the atoms, like for the compounds which have more than 2 atoms, like they have more than 2 atomicity, right? And we use the term bond energy for the diatomic molecules. They can be homoatomic or heteroatomic. Basically the bond energy of heteroatomic is high. For example, we have HCl and we have H2. So this the bond energy of HCl will be higher and H2O will be lower. Why? Because you can see they are not similar. Like there will be a electronegativity difference due to that, like due to polarity. Basically, as we have seen that as the polarity increases, the bond energy also increases. So here, and it also depends upon the size too. Right, so here you can see there is no negativity difference, but here it is. So basically it depends upon the polarity, it depends on the ionic character, right? So HCl, like heteroatomic molecules have higher bond energy and the homoatomic molecules have lower amount of energy, right? Like lower bond energy, basically lower bond energy, right? So I hope this is clear to you. If you have any kind of queries, you can ask me in the comment section and I'm really glad to answer you guys.